Okay, look at the Torah Vaeschanan Yud Aleph. Yud Aleph, last line of the page. We learned the next few lines, but anyway. Okay, now the Rebbe is explaining that how do you get to this level of Yohavta, so there's bindiness of Shema Yisrael Shema Kina Shema Chad, and he was speaking about the Mayim Tachteinim, the Mayim Al Yenim, the lower waters, the higher waters, and the last thing is explaining that in the creation, the creation was made by a ray of Shema. Even Shema is removed. This is a reziv of Shema. So he says, well, the Inyan is like this. Shebachol Yom V'Yom, in every day, Mizgalad V'Yom V'Yom is revealed the level of Elokus for that day, which is Eis is V'Adibur. The letters in this speech, Shanim Shem B'Chinas Hamida, that comes from me, like he says, Yom Ha'hu, the Hainu B'Yom Aleph Nimshach Eis Yis Yihi Od. The first day of creation was, and by the way, this happens every first day, every Sunday. You have the Gilui of Yihi Od and the level of Chesed, B'Yom Beis Yihi Rakia. Okay, this is where we're up to. B'Yom Shabbos, what happens on Shabbos? When Hashem stopped creating, like this, the words, so to speak, Kaviyachal come out of Hashem, even though they don't, because there's nothing outside of Hashem. But when you speak, the Isis leave you. And he says, Shabbos, they go back to the source. What does that mean? Like a person thinks or speaks, or when you stop thinking, about a particular thing, or you stop talking, the letters of machshava and dibur go back to the original place. So the same thing, kach kaviyachal etzli is barich. The same thing when Hashem kaviyachal in creation means Hashem revealed. The first day chesed, second day gvura, third day tiferes, and so on. Shabbos, that's why it's called Yisbarach Shabbos Hashem Elokecha. What does it mean, Shabbos Hashem Elokecha? So he says like this: Upirish Yisrael hu ola b'machshava. Yidden originate in a very lofty level of machshava, not dibur, machshava. Shem is bain, and therefore when a person meditates in Shema Yisrael, he said before, what is Shema? Shem Ayin, the name Shem, which is even exalted from world. Then it becomes Ayin, the 7 midas, each one composed of 10. And when you meditate in the 7 days of creation, 6 days of creation in Shabbos, that is the revelation of Elokus. And then you meditate after Shema Yisrael, that Olu b'machshava, then you come to Elokeinu, Havaya Elokeinu, that Shem Havaya, U'b'china Simtzim is Pashtus V'hamshocha. That even the name Havaya, even though it's the essential name of Hashem, but Chassidus explains, Yud Ke Vav Ke is the way Elokus is coming into creation. Therefore, Yud is Simtzum, Hey is this Pashtus, spreading out, Vav is Amshach Lamata, and Hey is again is Pashtus. That represents the 10 spheres. Yud the way it comes into Chochmah, Hey the way it comes into Bina, Vav the way it comes into the 6 spheres, and Hey is Malchus. So that's why you have the level of the way Havaya, Hashem is coming into creation, because Yud Ke Vav Ke means Mahava creator. If he's creator, he's connected to creation, and then he realizes Tzimtzum to be able to have, and then it becomes Elokeinu, which is Machshava Ilah, the highest Machshava to create Neshamas Yisrael, to come from the level of Machshava Ilah, which is Gavaya Yesim Ebchinas Havaya, which is even higher than the level of Havaya Chod, which is Simtzum is Pashtus, V'amshachal is, I'll explain in a second. V'amshachal is Bechinas Dibur Shemizah Sheish Sav Zayin Rikim V'ar Dal Ruch Ve'elam, which is Ches Dalad Avechot. So Alter Rebbe is defining the pasuk like this: Shema Yisrael, Shem Ayin. That Shem is Nisk of Shemay Levade, that's even above, way above world. And then he says, Ayin, the ayin of Shema represents the 7 midas, each one composed of 10. Then you realize Yisrael, the level of Yisrael, Olu b'machshava, is a very lofty level of machshava, which is higher than even Havaya, which is the 10 spheres, the way Hashem comes into the world. And why is it? Because Elokeinu, that's the level of Elokut, which is one with us, ours, that represents the source of the Neshamas Yisrael that are one with Hashem. And then it becomes Havaya Echad, which these level of Neshama is even higher than Havaya Echad, because Havaya Echad represents you Hashem already coming into time and place, 7 heavens, earth, 4 corners of the world, and that's the lower level. So he says that's this baininess of Machshava. Right. Let's just finish this up. Okay, Mashal Me'alev, from the heart comes a level of Dibur, and it goes, like he said before, the heart even goes to the head, the blood goes to the head. Lahar Amshacha B'chinas Machshava. The Amshacha of the heart that goes to Machshava is Gavar Yisrael higher, because the brain is much more refined, much more intricate than the heart. So you have all that level, and that's why it says Havaya Elokeinu.
It goes back to that source.
First Havaya was Machshava, the second one was Neshama.
No. Yisrael is the level all of Machshava. And that is the level of Havaya, the way it comes into the spheres. But Elokeinu, the Alter Rebbe is saying, refers to Machshava Ilah, to create Neshamas, which is even higher than Havaya Echad. Because Havaya Echad represents the way Havaya now is coming into the world, into time and place.
What was the first Havaya?
Havaya is the way Elokus B'chal comes into the whole concept of worlds.
That's the second.
No. The first one is the way Hashem is higher than worlds, but the concept of creation exists. Havaya Echad is the way Hashem actually comes into time and place.
We're going back to the source, right?
So basically the Neshamas are infinitely greater than that level. Huh? No, way up there, before Atzilus.
Time and place started with Bria.
Time and place started with, Seder Zmanim started in Bria. Yeah, but, practically speaking, yeah, time begins in Bria.
So Israel is higher than Havaya?
Yeah, all over Machshava. Highest of Machshava, Havaya, the way it comes into D-board in the level of Yud Kei Vav Kei.
So Rabbi, that's the level of Shabbos? That's what goes all back to Shabbos?
No, he's just saying that just like the level of Shabbos is the level of Elokus going back to the original source. So this inyan, when we're saying Shema Yisrael V'Elokeinu Hashem Echad, the ultimate purpose of creation is to go back to the source, the way it was Olu b'machshava, that Yidden accomplished that.
It's like a zigzag.
Yes.
Shema is Mitzvah, then is Havaya, then is Israel. No, then is Israel, then is Havaya, then is Elokeinu.
Because who is able to unite Havaya and Echad above time and place, synonymous, is the level of Yisrael. Who brings Kedusha into the world? A Yid when he does a mitzvah. Nobody else can do that.
And Torah.
A Yid, no, Torah itself doesn't unite heaven and earth. When a Yid learns Torah and does Torah mitzvahs, that's when you unite Havaya and Elokim. To put all of this into simple perspective for us simpletons, he says, the whole purpose of creation is for a Jew to connect Atzmas Ein Sof together with the world, that it becomes one. And the only one that could do that is Yisrael, because Olu b'machshava, because Yidden are infinitely greater than world. They're even greater than Torah in the source. So therefore Yidden can combine heaven and earth.
Heaven.
Why did they want to destroy us?
Because they can't.
If this is
Like a virus.
the purpose
Yeah.
of war, created
Like a virus.
how come there are negativity?
Because
destroyed us?
based on the darkness of the world, the more light it is. Yisrael min ha-cheshech. The darker the cheshech, the more the light. And when you transform real heavy-duty darkness to unbelievable art, it's a greater level of art. And that's why all this, you need a Rebbe to say that, but based on the Rebbe's teachings, all these, every day is new countries condemning Israel and condemning Palestine, a Palestinian state and all that. That's because the darkness right before Mashiach is the greatest darkness. The Rebbe in Chassidus it says the darkest part of the night is right before the sun comes out, right before dawn, basically. So the darkness in the world is so bad that that's right before Mashiach. It has to be this super great darkness, because then the ultimate push to bring the ultimate light into the darkness is accomplished.
It's not so dark, right? There's so much good also going on. So much you could see the steps.
The world, a darkness of the world, that one government after another government, governments that were officially friendly to the Jews, UK, France was also always anti-Semitic, UK, Canada, everybody is now coming out against Israel.
In 1 week.
And it's not only Israel, it's Jews, anti-Semitism, period. Anti-Semitism is not anti-Zionism. Anti-Semitism means against Jews.
Where you're anti-Semitic.
Okay, that's the story. So that's why the Cheshech is so great.
So how do we get rid of that?
Bringing order.
The
You don't fight dirt with dirt. The Gemara has an expression. Hamisabik im menuvel misnavel. You fight dirt, you get dirty. So how do you fight? According to Chassidus, it's not sur meirah. Sur meirah is turning away from evil. That means you're fighting evil, that you're turning away from it. Azaytei means you just bring in more light into the world. The more light you bring into the world, automatically darkness is dispelled. So in order to bring new things into the world, there has to be a darkness that allows and causes and forces a Jew to bring more light into the world.
The force.
Yeah. I'll give you a simple example where he said, I always say this. In many places, that harp on Lashon Hara, so they say, okay, from 8 to 9, no Lashon Hara. Okay, that's what they, from 8 to 9, there's not going to be any Lashon Hara. Which is, in all due respect to them, it's the stupidest, craziest thing you could do. Why? You're basically saying like this. Okay, 8 to 9, no Lashon Hara. Which basically you're saying, okay, until 8, Chaparain, grabbing whatever you could do. 9 o'clock, okay, thank God, it's over, let's go back to Lashon Hara. And it's all dealing with no Lashon Hara. No. Why don't you do something else? Let's learn from 8 to 9. If you say, let's learn from 8 to 9, and you learn from 8 to 9, so automatically you're not speaking Lashon Hara. But you're not speaking no Lashon Hara in a sense of negativity, fighting Lashon Hara. You're just bringing light into, let's learn Torah. If you're learning Torah, automatically there's no Lashon Hara.
Sunday mornings, 8 to 9, Gemara.
Thomas, bringing light, Chassidus. Okay. So he says, one second. That's why it says 2 names of Havaya, because it's 2 different levels of Havaya. There's like it's called Havaya de La'ela. You have the same thing by the way, by Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, you say Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachum V'Chanim. And officially in the Siddur there's a line, which means you're supposed to make a break between Hashem Karachim V'Chanim. Because one is Havai Ilah, which is much greater than the world, and then you have the Yud Kevavke, which is one of the 7 names of Hashem. So there's 2 different things. What does it mean, Havai Elokeinu? Shenisham is Yisrael Gevaya, all of a machshava. Is Gever, Yosef, and Amshachas of Bechinas Dibord is infinitely greater. Because he even come from the highest level of machshava of Hashem. Creation comes from Dibord. So machshava is much, much greater than Dibord. And Neshamas are even greater than the Malachim that are created Veruach Piv Kol Tzvam. All the Malachim were created with Ruach Piv, which is again spirit of the mouth. He said, what does it mean, Havaya Echad? He said, Ein Neifel Loshen Echad, only if Ishtalsha Shemayim V'Oretz. In world, by definition, it has to be Echad. Because the definition of world is time and place. If there's place, which is one with time, but if there's place, the definition of place means north, west, south, east, up and down. That's the definition of place. If it doesn't take up, if there's no north, south, east, west, and up and down, then it's no place. So Havaya Echad means the way Havaya comes into Aleph Ches Dalid, which is the 7 heavens and earth, which is up and down, 4 corners of the world. So he says, which represent, heaven and earth represents the 6 dimensions. Again, north, west, south, east, up and down. And yet, even though it's Echad, but the Echad is Echad Behem Lefi Shem B'Telem at Elav Yisbarach, because the world is Batot Hashem. And that's why we don't say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Yachid. All the Mefarshim ask, why doesn't it should say Yachid? Echad means one. If you say there's one table, by definition, one means there's more. Because if there's no other tables, then you say it's the only table. One, by definition, means that, like, if there's Yom Rishon or Yom Echad, then you automatically have Yom Sheni, Shlishi, Revi. It doesn't say Vayever break the Yom Yachid. So all the Mefarshim ask, why do we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? We should say Yachid. So Chassidus explains, because to say Hashem is Yachid means that there's no world. Okay, yeah, so if there's no world, of course there's only Hashem. A greater level of Achdus Havaya is that there is a world, and the world is Batul Hashem. But he says that's the lower level of Havaya Echad. Shema Yisrael Havaya Elokeinu, the first Havaya, is much greater than Havaya Echad, like he just explained. Avo Bechinas Havaya Elokeinu, that's the level Amshach of Yachid, Shu Yisbarach Yachid Miyuchad. V'ulevadehu, like it says, that Yitzchak Yechidei. That level of Havaya, Shema Yisrael Havaya Elokeinu, represents the level of Yachid, not Havaya. That not the level of Hashem Echad, which represents the way Havaya is coming into the level of world. So even in Shema Yisrael, there's a level of Yachid, but not in Hashem Echad, in Hashem Yachid. By the way, this is what you're supposed to think when you say Shema, by the way, for the record, in case you're bored. And you know what to think about Shema, this is what you have to think. That's even greater than spiritual life, which is the Ata Mechayas Kulam. Ata is the Asius Aleph to Tov and Hemei Tzor Sapeh. And that's the level of higher than Va'ata Mechaya es Kulam. This level of Havaya is even higher than the level of Va'ata Mechaya es Kulam. Because At over there represents the level of speech. Aleph to Tov and Hei Mitzvah Sapeh. 5 formations of the mouth. So this is even much greater than them. And that's what it means, Mechal Kol Chaim, he gives life. U'kemayme Yochid Chei Olamim Melech. Sho Yizbarech U'miyuchad Yochid U'miyuchad Hashem is Yochid. Chei Olamim is only the level of Malchus. What do we say in Baruch Shemer? Yochid Chei Olamim Melech. By the way, it's interesting. Most Nischoyes say Yochid Chei Olamim, period, Melech Meshubach and Fire. In our Siddur, it's not like that. It's Yochid Chei Olamim Melech. Why is it like this? Because Al Rebbe explains that Yochid Chei Olamim is not Melech, Melech Meshubach, but it's not, even though the period is after Melech. Why? Because it's a whole different meaning. Hashem is Yochid. It's nothing to do with world. Chei Olamim, so what creates the worlds? That's the level of Melech, Malchus, which is a level of Dibur, which is connected to time and place. So it's not saying Yochid Chei Olamim, because then it doesn't mean anything. Yochid without Chassidus means Yochid Chei Olamim. Yeah, Hashem is the life of the world. How that corresponds and coincides with the term Yochid, I don't know, because Yochid means there is no world. Chei Olamim means there is a world. So how can you say Yochid Chei Olamim and stop? But Al Rebbe is explaining, no, it's Yochid. Hashem in essence is Yochid. Chei Olamim, how then if so, how does he create the world? Melech, that comes from the level of Malchus. And then you say, he is Meshuvach and Fire, the Yashmei Agod.
Which one is higher, Shema, or when we say bracha, any bracha?
Baruch Ata, over there, Ata, the essence. Here, this Havaya Chod is the level of Dibur. But nevertheless, Shema Yisrael is Yichud Ilah. And the top of Shai Yichud V'Amunah. In Tanya, right? There's 2 lines before Parak Aleph starts. Lahavim Mashakasa B'Zeir HaKadosh, that Shema Yisrael is Yichud Ilah, or Baruch Shem Kveid Malchus Le'Envad is Yichud Tata. Because Shema Yisrael V'Elokeinu Havaya Echad basically means that basically means the concept of Yochid. Havaya Elokeinu is Yochid. Right? And then you have Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusay is already Shem Kavod Malchusay is B'riyah Tzur Nasiyah. La'olam Voed means time, forever, but it's in time. So that's Yichud Tata. Yichud Ilah means there is no world. There's only Hashem. L'mayla yesh u'lamata ayin. There is no world. Yichud Tata means there is Avaya, there is Echad, there is a world. There is Ches and Daled, 7 heavens and earth, 4 corners of the world, but it's bottled to the Aleph. So Yichud Ilah means there's no world. Eined Mulvadi.
It's only him.
Only him. There is no world. Yichud Tata means there is a world, but the world is bottled to the king. Or in other language, Eved Neman and Eved Pashut. Eved and Pashut means a simple Eved, I have my own will, I have my own desires, but I'm bottled to the master. I don't want to do what he wants me to do, but I'm going to do what he wants me to do because he's the boss. Yeah? Eved Neman is, like it said by Moshe, Beisi Neman, who means what the master wants is what I want. There is no me. Essence. No, higher than that even, the essence. And the ata of a bracha that we're bringing down when we do the mitzvah, because again, mitzvahs connect the world with atzmus, right? Dira b'tachteinim, dira la'atzmusay yizbarech, dira lo yizbarech means to the atzmusay. That is accomplished when you do a mitzvah or when you say a bracha. It's baruch to bring down Ata, the essence of Hashem, into Havaya, which is Seviv, into Elokeinu, into Mamala, and through this Melech HaElam. Huh?
comes, then it's going to be no more Yehuda.
No more.
No more separation. It's going to be one only. You know?
Vayemahu yiyah Hashem echad u'shma yachad. There won't be difference between Hashem and name.
The time when they were saying, they were not saying, well, Shem Tov Ma'atol, they were going straight from Shema to the After.
Because they were great enough to bring Yichud Ilah straight into the after. The Rebbe said years ago once that, or maybe more than once, that nowadays you can go straight to Teshuva Ilah without Teshuva Tata. That means I don't know, but that's what the Rebbe said.
He opened it up.
Yeah, okay. What it means, I don't know, but it doesn't mean anything. I don't know anything anyway.